Hello, everyone. Don't mind me. How y'all doing today? Hello, hello. Please like, share, subscribe. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. I at least see one person join me on live. So, thank you for that. I want to talk to y'all about this. So, I redid the design for the funding freeze transition plan. And here's what I got for y'all on this. But first, before we get into it, I just wanted to let y'all know to please like, share, subscribe, follow. And on where am I on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you always know. Make sure it's solid so you always know whenever I go live. Um, thank you guys for joining me. So as you all know, or maybe you're just finding out, 9 months ago, I started a series called Fate of the Federal Funding Freeze. And this series so far has 7 parts to it. And I put the playlist in my YouTube. So check it out whenever you are able. I also put for my Instagram, which I will upload this video to later. If you go to my Instagram, not right now, but whenever I post this video, comment the word plan and you'll get a link to this. I finally did it. So now you can comment and then it'll send a link to you to your DM in Instagram. So thank you guys for coming in. Also, I want to give a before I just jump in the topic, I want to give a shout out to two people. The first is to Shikani, and the other one is Florence. Last name or the surname is Florence. Thank you guys so very much for downloading. And there were yeah, those two. Thank you guys so much for downloading the free version of the funding freeze transition plan. I appreciate it so much. And as my special gift to you, you did get this list for free. So, guys, this list is no longer free. The 3 days have passed. However, you can purchase it for $12 whenever you get the link. It is in the description below. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for those who are going to purchase later because I will give you like a little sneak peek on what's in here. But first, y'all, we are on day 17 of the shutdown. If you are not from the US or if you heard about it, we are currently on a shutdown. It may not feel like it because, we're living life is going on currently, but yeah, we are on day 17 of the shutdown. So, for those of you all who don't know what this shutdown is about, on before September 30th, Congress could not come to a consensus on how they wanted to spend the federal funding. And it does include healthcare. So they didn't know what they wanted to do with it or how it should be spent, or it was just a disagreement about it. So until further notice, we are on a budget deadlock. It's happened since midnight October 1st, 2025. So that's what's going on now. And again, I'm not saying this information to scare anybody. I'm not even pushing my like political view. I'm just letting you know the facts without propaganda, without trying to get you to go one way or the other. But a thing I notice is on the shutdown, our president took a trip to the Middle East to sign a peace treaty. I have nothing to say about it, but I am saying what I noticed while we're still in America over here on a shutdown. So yeah, I'll leave that to the imagination. But anyway, back to what I was saying about this budget deadlock. It includes healthcare. It does include federal spending. Part of it was, remember Doge and how, like, way back in January when, like I said, this series started, they were talking about Doge and they were talking about wasteful spending. And then next thing you know, they cut the funding for the Department of Education. And it's like, well, people need scholarships to go to school. Part of it was that, but part of it is just the education agency itself. That's where the funding was cut for that. Not necessarily the scholarships, but even those scholarships might be in limited supply. But again, this is, like I said, I'm only informing you, not trying to scare you about it. This does include, for the budget deadlock, this does include government contracts, and it does impact certain grants on the non federal level. And you know the non federal level because you know you either have to pay a fee for it for a private foundation, or you just apply for that for your shot at attempting to win the funding for that and competitions and so on, right? Now, currently, as I think it's just been a few days now, I read an article where $1.4 million has stopped. It's been cut from the military and some government workers. So a lot of our government workers that we know of are either quitting or they're using their services voluntarily because they somebody had to do the job, which I understand, but at the same time they received a major pay cut. And yes, this affects our soldiers in the military, in the US military, all branches. So, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Space uh, Force, all of that, it affects everyone. So, if you have ever worked a job and you worked hard at it and you didn't get paid, this is a little bit of what they're experiencing. So the back to the or jumping in the meat and potatoes, like what you really came here for. You came here for this, but more than this, more than this, you want to know how your funding is affected. So what's happening with grant funding? I'll let you know. The competition, and this I'm specifying grants on the non-federal level. So these are your grants that are given away from, like, philanthropists. This is a donor thing. These are grants from the private foundations, some public foundations as well, but the competition is going to be a lot higher. Yes, the competition is already high on this level of funding because it is a part of the low hanging fruit. It is the easiest to get. So the competition for this is going to be a lot higher than what it is. It's likely that grantors, philanthropists, investors will vet and release funding sparingly, because if a lot of them rely on federal funding, this is where some of these grants will be impacted. Then they can't promise you or guarantee you something that they themselves don't have. Now, if this is non-federal, then it's nothing to worry about. The grants will go on and continue as if they're not. Um, it'll continue as if they're not being stopped by the shutdown, because they're not. Because with private funders, They pretty much they have their own set of rules. They set the tone, they set the pace because people are always donating. And because of that, they are able to secure that grant funding and release the grant per their leisure. But again, with this, the competition is going to be high because now everyone is going after the grant. Can they get funded with this? We're never, people are not going to stop their business or develop new businesses. And this is something that they need and they want. So yeah. Also, the release of funds may vary, but as I already kind of mentioned with the philanthropists, the private foundations, private donors, and those that fundraise, they release it with at their leisure with their own personal deadline that they set. But however, with the federal government, they are limited now because of the shutdown, because of the budget deadlock, because that's what's going on right now with the shutdown. So you can still benefit from this. And here's how. If you already applied for a government contract or with GovCon, if you've already done that, you're fine. If you've already won that contract, you're fine. And the government is bound by that contract to fulfill it. They are not able to, for example, if they said this contract is for $1 million, $5 million over the course of 5 years, they have to honor that. They're not going to cut your spending because they're on a shutdown. If you've gotten a contract and contracts are still available for you because the government is still a business operating, whether they are in operation or not with these contracts, and again, they are bound by the contract. So even if you win after the shutdown, it's a binding agreement between the subcontractor, the prime. It's their agreement, and they will pay you for that. So what do we until then? What do we keep doing? Go ahead and get this funny freeze transition plan. Go ahead and get it, because in it, here's what I put in this plan. Like, I promise the irony is not lost, and I'm not trying to build anticipation, but with this funding freeze, here's what you're going to get. You are going to get the transition plan itself. I've included with this because it's at right now at the recording of this video, at the mention of this, is $12. So it shows you what you need to do to make sure you have everything in order. At first, I said I wasn't going to include the list of things that you need to for your business, your nonprofit, and your church. I changed my mind and I've included those in here. I've also included where you should start pivoting and the direction you should start looking for funding if you haven't already done that. Within this plan, I've included resources on how to transition with your credit, how to go after non-federal sources of funding, federal sources of funding as well, and to just have that security knowing that, hey, I've done this. Maybe also transitioning to increasing your revenue. That is what I put all in this funding freeze transition plan just for you. Because for those of you, you have a church, you have a business, you have a nonprofit, a project, or a program. And if you don't have it, you know someone that does have one and who can benefit from this. So I say, if you don't intend on buying this yourself, gift it to a friend of yours, buy it for them, and then just give it to them as a present, because they're going to need this. They're going to want to know what business type they are, what I don't talk about taxes too much in here, but I do talk about 990s and pivoting, positioning, what you need to do. I even put descriptive language in here, just giving a little bit more of a description and more of a breakdown of what I already just explained in this video. So if you haven't already, get your funding freeze transition plan, and this is going to kickstart you for like the benefit from for the funding during the shutdown. And also, like, who doesn't want that? I know I do. I'm benefiting right now. But and I just want to say thank you guys for your support and pushing this video out there. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate it. But again, with this freeze, and I'm just going to continue, when you keep applying for grants, and also you may need the help of this transition plan, but regardless of the shutdown, still apply. Yes, I just said we're on a budget deadlock. Yes, I said that funding is going to be a little bit more challenging to get, but I never said it wasn't available. It's still available, it's still out there. So don't think, oh, I can't apply. You can and you should. Because right now, just because we're on a budget deadlock, there's there is funding available. It's still in a pool. You're just applying before the pool runs out. And let's just say, for example, the shutdown ends tomorrow. At least you applied today before the deadline. And now, whenever you submit, you would qualify for the funding that you got, right? So, yeah, be mindful of that. Another thing is apply where you match. I know this is like old news to a lot of you who go about getting funding every way, every possible way you know how. But if you don't know or been living under a rock, the funding that you qualify for, and it's not a secret, you apply where you match. So if you are an advocate for people's rights, at risk youth, that's your audience, that's where you're going to apply the funding. If you are even animal rights, if you're an activist for that, that's where you're applying. You wouldn't you wouldn't be all for pets and animal rights, but you're applying for funding that support um, veganism, or that supports hairstyling, or that supports some other business or advocacy that you're not in. So go for where you match. And if you some of your grants that they already put here, maybe they haven't mentioned it because they don't need to. Maybe they have a lot going on, so they haven't gotten a chance to update their website. But I'm telling you, in their stead, right now, they don't want you to panic or assume that you're not getting the funding. But in due time, they will make the announcement on what they're going to do. Right now, they're planning, they're looking at what they need to do to pivot and shift because of this shutdown. They probably haven't updated anything yet because they're in their back office with their team saying, okay, how much funding do we have left? How much funding can we realistically give out? Do we need to decrease the pool that we currently have? And maybe they have their own funding freeze transition plan, or maybe they're going to get mine. But the fact of the matter is, this requires careful planning and consideration for not just time, but not wasting resources. So, again, get your hands on it if you haven't already. And the link is in the description below. And lastly, honor the grant you've already received. So they will honor it even on the non-federal level. So like I was saying earlier about the private funders, if they said they're giving you, let's just say 5,000 for your for what you do, then they're not going to tell you, well, uh excuse me, they're not going to tell you in the middle, oh well, we're giving you half because we needed to help somebody else. They're going to honor it, and maybe the next go round they might lessen it, but until then they're going to honor you. So you still got to do your part and honor them. If you said that you needed $5,000, you spend it wisely and in accordance to how you said you were going to spend it. Okay. So yes, go ahead, get the funding freeze transition plan. It's the plan that helps you transition your business, nonprofit, your church project program to benefit for government funding, grant funds during this shutdown. You can purchase it today for $12. You can gift it to someone. But please help me spread the word about this and do what you do best, internet. Do what you do best, YouTube, and every social media platform out there. Mention this funding freeze transition plan. Mention it to your friends, your loved ones, your family, because there's someone out there that needs this. There's someone out there who is looking for this. And I need your help to help me get it to them. And guys, that is all I have for you today. But go ahead and get your hands on this funding freeze transition plan. Thank you again so much for your support and for all that you do. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much to my supporters, collaborators, those who give me a amazing like, share, and you comment. That means the world to me. So again, if you're on Instagram and when you see this video, if you comment the word plan in the box, in the comment box, I will DM you the link to purchase this. Until then, everyone, y'all have an amazing day. Stay safe out here and know funding is out there. It's just waiting for you to claim it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.